In this episode, how you can lose 5 pounds immediately. I mean it. Kind of.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 268 of The Daily Mother Swole. You have caught the most muscular podcast in the realm. When I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Thank you for joining, and thank you for sharing the most muscular and the strangest fucking podcast you will see live every day at 12 noon Eastern Time right here on Facebook. So every day at 12 noon Eastern Time, you can catch me at Swolenormous on Facebook. You can watch on YouTube, and you can listen in on SoundCloud and iTunes. So if you're new to the podcast and you want to catch up, then do it while you're driving, do it while you're doing the dishes, while you're lifting weights in the gym. You can listen for the podcast. You listen to every single episode. And yes, Wesley, I personally had to sit down with Mark Zuckerberg, obviously the creator of Facebook, and tell him that we needed landscape mode in live. And that's why I used to like Periscope, because the landscape mode is able to catch Everest and K2. We can get both the fucking gains on the screen. And I said that little square Instagram style shit's just not going to work for Papa Swole fucking Normous. It's not going to work. And look, ask and you shall receive. I like that, Mark. What if I don't like avocados? You eat them anyway. Well, there are alternatives. We're talking about healthy fats. You don't have to suck down avocados, but you're missing some really healthy shit. If it's simply you don't like them, I would say suck it up and eat some, now and again because they're so good. Guacamole, I know. This is the kind of guy you don't bring with you on Taco Tuesday. You just don't. I'm kidding, bro. You don't have to like everything, but sometimes you got to do things you don't like. If it's really, it's really good for you. If you just don't like it, you could eat it sparingly. There's other things you can eat. But let's not get off topic. Let's talk about how to lose 5 pounds immediately. How to lose 5 pounds immediately. And some of you might be thinking, wow, Papa Swolenormous doesn't really talk about losing 5 pounds immediately. And in a way, I'm not going to talk about that again. I've just been having a bunch of people message me and a bunch of people ask me, how do you lose 5 pounds? I'm trying to lose 5 pounds. Or even the opposite. I'm trying to, build some muscle. What do you think I should do? Well, that's the fucking worst question ever. I'm trying to lose some weight quick. What do I do? That question also sucks. It shows that you have no interest in actually doing it. It shows you have no interest and you're looking for a handout. You're looking for a simple answer, which just literally tells me in the simplest way that it's not going to happen for you. When someone asks you, well, how do I get big? Really? You don't have to be fucking Nostradamus to predict that it's not going to happen. How do I lose weight? Oh my God, really? Really? We're going to go that rudimentary with the question? I don't mind if you ask me a question. You can ask me anything. But if you ask me a stupid, basic, uneducated, non-interesting, non-invested question, you're going to get a basic freaking answer, because usually it comes down to being basic. You have to put in the fucking work. No matter what. You can have all the talent in the world, you can have all the skills, but you're not going to be an expert. LeBron James wouldn't be good at basketball. Michael Jordan wouldn't be good at basketball. Mozart wouldn't be good at the piano. I almost said basketball again. Mozart had sick fucking ups. You're not going to be good at what, it doesn't matter if you have natural talent. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the time and the practice. So when you use words like I want to lose 5 pounds now. How do I lose 5 pounds in a week? How do I lose 5 pounds immediately? How do I lose 5 pounds instantly? You get rid of those words like now and in a week and instantly and immediately. You get rid of those words. When you think about it, what is the urgency? What is the urgency? What is this now? What does this need to have it now? Really? I mean, what does this need to have 5 pounds gained or lost? What's the need to have this physical result immediately? Is there really a reason? Or is it just a very arbitrary thought like, I don't want to lose it, I'm just impatient? Really, what is? You're not patient enough. Where is this now? There's no fucking now. It's always, life always moves forward. You're not going to get anything right now. Nothing is happening right now. I mean, everything's happening right now. I guess you could say the only thing that's happening is right now, but you're not going to get anything right now. you're not going to lose 5 pounds immediately. You're not going to, gain 5 pounds immediately. It's going to take time. It's going to take work, and it could take longer than you expect. You might want to lose 5 pounds, and it doesn't mean you can't set a goal, but this idea that it has to happen with this urgency, you're setting yourself up for failure, disappointment, and an unrealistic outcome. Food caloric intake. Food and your caloric intake may be too low, and it may be too high. It's not always too high. Your body can do two things. It can go into starvation mode when it protects its calories and it starts halting weight loss because it thinks it's dying. It starts retaining water. It starts holding on to nutrients because you're not eating enough and insufficient nutrients, so it's not going to get rid of the extra. And you could also be consuming too much. So you have to look at your caloric intake and look at what you're actually consuming, and it could be too little. If you're doing starvation level diets, 1,000 calories, it's too little. And you could also be consuming too much, which is generally more likely the case. But you have to do the basics. 5 pounds either way is not that much. I mean, it's much harder to put on 5 pounds than it is to lose 5 pounds. But you first off need to eliminate the shit. We talked about the fruit juices, the sodas, the boxed foods, the things with preservatives. Get rid of the breads, the pastas, things that cause inflammation and retain water. Get rid of the extra carbohydrates just so you know, when you cut carbohydrates, you lose water. This is why those low carbohydrate diets work at the beginning and then stop after a while, because when you cut carbs, water goes with it. But you can keep that water off and get rid of that extra weight if you increase your fats. Because if you just cut carbs and you're doing high protein, you're not going to be satisfied. You're going to get hunger cravings and you're going to rebound, because that is a very poor diet in terms of energy for the body. And you're going to have very low satisfaction with your meals. You're going to also potentially be more dehydrated because you're not drinking enough water to compensate for the increase in protein. If you drop carbohydrates, you need to increase the fat. So if you start eating more healthy fats like avocado, coconut oil, in my opinion, of course, healthy, let's say grass-fed beef and grass-fed butter and healthy fats, olive oil, olives, things of that nature, but higher in healthy fats, you will compensate for that drop in carbs. You'll flush out extra water, and you will, shed extra weight. You'll shed extra weight, increase your fiber intake, clear out your colon, all that good stuff. So a couple pounds here and there is usually extra water weight, and it's usually inflammation from having extra carbohydrates in your diet. And most people eat far too many carbohydrates and nowhere near enough healthy fats. I'm a big fan of the high-fat diet, low, moderate carbohydrate. I only stick to those things like white rice, sweet potatoes, and my gluten-free oats just because I like them better. This is not a war on gluten, but eliminate the crap, eliminate the things that do not serve you. And that will be the quickest road to flushing out extra water weight and flushing off extra body weight, because your body has weight that it doesn't need. You just have to teach it that it doesn't need it by giving it other things that it does need. That makes sense? You give someone, something that they do need, they can get rid of the stuff that they don't because it works better. So if you cut carbs, start increasing the fat. And yes, you have to increase foods that promote satisfaction, that promote that sense of fullness, and that give you the nutrients that will satisfy you. Like I said, water. Increase your water intake. Most of you are dehydrated. Most of you are retaining water because you're not drinking enough. So the water has to drastically increase. You have to be consuming more water. And that does not necessarily mean you have to go all of a sudden to 2 gallons a day. But if you're exercising, you could definitely easily consume 3/4 of a gallon to a gallon plus a day, even up to 1.5 gallons. But if you're very, very tiny and you don't really work out that much, it's going to feel like you're bloated. You're going to feel very overwhelmed and waterlogged. But when you're exercising, when you start getting into the flow, you have a couple things. First off, your body's not used to drinking that much water, so you're going to feel full. Your body mechanically has to learn how to process the water and flush that through the system. And in addition, once you start exercising, your body will begin to assimilate that water more regularly. So start drinking more water frequently, drink it earlier in the day, and drink it all throughout the day, and be consistent with it, and you'll start seeing more progress with extra weight being flushed out because your body has more fluid. It can process and get rid of excess fluid on the body and keep that cycle going, so it's more refreshing, it's more renewing, and the water does everything in the body. We're about 70% water. You need water for everything. You need water for everything. So, body composition. Last point I want to make is body composition. Do you even know if you're losing 5 pounds of fat? Do you know if you're losing 5 pounds of water? Do you know if you're gaining 5 pounds of fat, 5 pounds of muscle, 5 pounds of water? Do you even know? The absolute weight does not always tell you what you're doing. You might gain 5 pounds, but you, let's say, lost 5 pounds of fat and gained 10 pounds of muscle. Usually doesn't happen like that. I'm just using an extreme example. But your body composition, stepping on a scale doesn't always tell you. Stepping on a scale doesn't always tell you what is really going on. Very rarely does it. It only gives you a two-dimensional picture of what's going on. Body composition, how much muscle mass, how much lean tissue you have on the body, and also how much fat storage you have on the body. So when you change your body composition, the scale is going to tell you the absolute weight. And I use this example a lot. If you put a baby and like a small child and a bucket of water on a scale, the scale is going to read 10 pounds. However, obviously one is a human child and one is a bucket of water. So the composition of the material that weighs 10 pounds is drastically different, but it weighs 10 pounds. It's the same thing with the human body. You step on a scale, it's going to say 150 pounds, 120 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds. It's going to say whatever the amount of weight that's being, that's as a result of gravity pulling you into the earth. It's going to tell you a physical response. This is 300 pounds. This mass is 300 pounds. It's not going to tell you that you're 150 pounds of muscle or 200 pounds of muscle and let's say 50 pounds of fat or 50 pounds extra of fat. So body fat percentage, I'm not going to go into those details on how to do it, but there are various methods. There are different, DEXA scans, there's underwater weighing, there's caliper measurements, and some are more accurate than others. But body fat percentage, body composition is a big component of what is actually going on. So don't tie yourself to the scale. Don't tie yourself to the scale. And I'm a huge proponent of not counting calories. Remember, if you're eating the right shit, you don't have to count the bad shit. So you need to start eliminating the crap and consume better foods. Do your weight training. Don't worry so much about the absolute weight. You need to look at body fat percentage, if anything, and that only really needs to be taken every couple weeks. So the focus needs to be cleaning up your shit. The best way to do this is to start writing it down. Start tracking what you're actually doing, because in reality, you cannot change anything if you don't know what you're currently doing. You might think you know what you're doing. You might have this idea of, what I'm eating, or I'm eating really healthy. I talk to so many people, they say, I eat really healthy stuff. Like, no, I eat healthy, I eat good. And I ask them, okay, well, what do you eat? And they tell me, and I tell them right back, you're eating absolute shit. They start telling me things like Subway, sandwiches, and like, I had a can of tuna, and then I had an apple, and just all this like shit that is really poor choices for what they want and what their goal is. So your idea of what's healthy, in many ways, is probably well off the rails or incorrect. It might not be. But people's opinions of what is healthy is oftentimes far, far, far from the truth. So it's what you're actually doing. It's not what you think you're doing. It's what you are actually doing. So write it down. Write it down and track it, and then you can start tweaking it. And we do this type of thing in my Swolenormous premium group, my accountability group, where we actually break that stuff down. And I'm always telling members to break stuff down, to write it, to articulate it, to see it in front of you. You need to have these things, this checklist, or you need to have the quantitative values in front of you, what you are doing now. Remember, you cannot change anything unless you know exactly what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're shooting in the dark, and that is not going to get you 5 pounds gained or lost anytime soon. I promise you, if you want to make any kind of change, you have to know what you're doing now. Otherwise, you can't change shit. Thank you so much for joining me for episode 268 of The Daily Mother Swole. Remember, when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps, now in landscape mode, so you can catch all dimensions of the most muscular podcast in the realm. Thanks for listening on SoundCloud and iTunes, watching on YouTube, and then also catching me live every day at 12 noon Eastern Time on Facebook. I will see you on Instagram stories. Also, you can catch me on Snapchat for all the behind the scenes. Make sure to check out my YouTube channel today. A couple more videos will be posted, vlogs and driving while gaining. So I got a couple new videos that will be going online. And thank you again for all the support for everyone in Swolenormous Nation, thank you for Swolenormous Premium members. I'll be talking for a few minutes after in my Swolenormous Premium group. So if you want some more accountability, if you need a fitness family that will keep you on track for your goals, make sure to check out Swolenormous Premium. You could sign up swolenormous.com, and I usually go live right after the Daily Swole for my premium members to give them some one-on-one time and answer any questions that they have. So thanks for joining me, and I will see everyone tomorrow at 12 noon East time for episode 269. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Get absolutely fucking huge.